All right, diving right in. My name is Alexander Garcia. This here is my lesson plan template that I will be going through and teaching. So, I am the teacher, Alexander Garcia. Grade level is 3. This is the grade that I'm teaching. Content standard is actually to it's written here, decode words with common Latin suffixes. It's pretty self-explanatory, but to decode words is to obviously break down words and understand the meaning of the different parts of the word, such as base and suffixes and prefixes, if there are any. For the majority of this lesson plan, we're going to be looking at mainly base with parts of words. We're mainly going to be looking at bases and suffixes, and the suffixes are going to be Latin. Moving on to the objective, students will be able to decode 3 to 5 words with common Latin suffixes and identify the similarities within meaning. So we want students to be able to recognize and decode words that have Latin suffixes. This is the main idea here, is to teach students how Latin suffixes affect the meaning of base and root words in English, and how they change or add to the meaning of those words. This is a good skill to have. We want our students to be able to decode words for meaning. This will enable them to further assess their readings and their findings in order to further enable them to continue learning and gathering new information as they go throughout the world and take in new information. Moving on to the anticipatory set, students will be introduced to Latin suffixes. Ation, able, and ible are all Latin suffixes, meaning these are all endings that can be attached to your root or base words in order to change or add meaning to those words again. And then I have here the actual meanings of these Latin suffixes. So ation is to form a noun or a verb. So we have an example would be the word create. You can add the Latin suffix creation to change the original word create, which is a verb, to a noun, that is creation. Moving forward, we have able and ible, and these are both pretty interchangeable. It adds the meaning of being capable or worthy to several words within the English language. And then after the anticipatory set, after we go ahead and go through this with the students and introduce them to Latin suffixes such as ation, able, and ible, we're going to go ahead and check for understanding. So students will be asked the meaning of Latin suffixes ation, able, and ible, and how they alter or add meaning to other words. So this can be done by simply calling on select students and just by either a show of hands or by popsicle sticks, just calling on a couple of students and seeing if they're able to remember or present the meaning that these Latin suffixes hold. This is to ensure that the students are keeping up and following along with the actual lesson. They're going to need to know or at least be giving attention to these Latin suffixes and understand that we are going for the meaning of these. This is vital to moving into the next portion of the lesson plan, which is input and modeling. So here we're going to dive deeper and show further examples of how the Latin suffixes actually affect some of the words. So we're going to be showing students this. So it's important that they know the meaning of the Latin suffixes so that they can understand how those meanings change other words within the English language. So within the input modeling section of the lesson plan, teachers will offer some examples. This will be words such as cutaneous, autonomous, and vacuum. They will then show how to decode these words for meaning and the relationships between them. So we can see that the first two words, cutaneous and autonomous, they both are ending in the OUS. And so this is a Latin suffix. Another one would be vacuum. Ends with the suffix um. That is another Latin suffix that adds meaning to the base word. Next, we'll show how to decode these words for their meaning and relationships between them. So this can be done by simply stating the meaning of the Latin suffix and then stating the meaning of the base or root word, and then explaining the relationship between the two and how when the two are put together creates a new meaning and a new word. And this is the whole point of putting them together, is to create meaning in our words. And then after the input modeling, we're going to check for understanding yet again. So students will be asked if they understood the words cutaneous, autonomous, and vacuum, and how to decode them for meaning. So with the checking for understanding, once again, I'm going to call on students by either show of hands or popsicle sticks, simply to ensure that the students are following along. Simple things, pretty much just having the students almost reword or regurgitate what it is that they just took in, such as information. And again, this just ensures that students are following along, as it is essential that each and every one of these portions within the lesson template do be understood and taken in by the students, so that we're growing their brains. Next, we'll move into guided practice. Students will practice thinking of words that end with Latin suffixes, such as ation, able, and ible. Students will then decode the words and explain the meaning with guidance from the teacher. So, this is this can be done as like a little activity almost. Students will again be called on. For this one, we will simply ask for a show of hands, and whoever's willing or has a desire to go ahead and attempt bringing up a word that they may already know, because these Latin suffixes are found all throughout the English language, ending with simply looking at the Latin suffixes. Ation, able, and ible gives them a reference point of what type of some of the many words within the English language that actually use these Latin suffixes. So we're going to go ahead and ask the students if they can come up with any. And then once they do, with the help of the teacher, we will this will be a guided practice. So it'll be mainly the teacher using prodding questions and checking for understanding here as well in a way. So for example, a student can be asked, can you think of a word that has a Latin suffix, either ation, able, or able? So we can use the word, say a student comes up with the word capable. Next, we will ask the student if they're able to see the different, decode and see the different parts of the word. So if we're using capable, the base or the root word would be cape, and then the Latin suffix would be able. And then from there, we would also dive into the meaning of able and the base word cape. And then we would also dive into how these two different word parts affect each other within meaning. It typically will always be the base of the root word will already have a meaning, and then the Latin suffix will have a meaning, will either change or add to that meaning. So suffixes, Latin suffixes, all suffixes are adding or altering the meaning of a word that already exists. And then next, we go ahead and move into the closure. Teacher will explain again how to decode words and Latin suffixes and relate the meaning of the words to one another. So this is pretty much just a summary of everything that we have gone through within the lesson plan template thus far. With this, students should have a fair understanding of how to what it looks like to decode words and look for words in the English language with Latin suffixes, and see how Latin suffixes affect the meaning of words within English language, and see similarities in different words that have Latin suffixes and how they're affected similarly. For independent practice, students will gain further practice on a worksheet tailored for common Latin suffixes. This will be explained by the teacher and done at the end of the class period or as homework. So it can be done at the end of classwork, it can be given out as homework, and it can kind of be both. You can start it at the end of the course or the class period, and then if the students don't get to finishing the whole worksheet, then you could also assign the rest of it as homework. Checking for understanding would be the actual worksheet that has been picked out. Adaptations, we have two. Students that require additional help may reference the teacher for further assistance at any point in time within the lesson. So at any point in time, students are always encouraged and able to access the teacher for further assistance. This, of course, is preferred as the last resort, so that students are grinding those gears and thinking on their own a little bit. But if they do get stumped, then they can go ahead and come to the teacher as an extra resource. Students will also have the option to apply closed captions to the lesson, as this lesson will be taught through Zoom. This will be explained, and we will go over this so that students are aware of how to add closed captions to the actual assignment, or the course. Sorry. Here we have the lesson worksheet, I mean. Oh. Let's see if I can open it. Uh-oh. My worksheet is gone. This is not good. Let me see if I can reload this. Technical difficulties. I apologize. Interesting. Sign in. I apologize. Please don't look at my password. Alright.